Welcome to Align and Elevate. Love who you are. A show where I can be me and you can be you. Let's get started. Welcome to this episode of Align and Elevate, loving who you are. So today we're talking about molds, and I'm talking about the kind of molds that we create. So I had an experience the other day that got me to thinking about how ingrained our programming is as a society, as a civilization even. In a conversation I was having, it was clear to me that there was an automatic response that the other person had that came from years and years of that's just the way it has to be kind of mentality. That's what I mean by a mold. The mold was created probably over 200 years ago, if not more. And I could see how it triggered a deep emotion of frustration and anger. And a little bit of anxiety came up underneath all of that. And as I was witnessing this exchange with someone, it reminds me of how little we humans really understand how we operate our own minds. We operate them from a blind spot in a way because we're not even aware that a program is in there. We don't even know we're not even aware of something else that could be possible. So it's okay to break the mold. We're breaking that mold that we don't even realize is there. However, there are ways to figure that out. So let me continue. It is okay to break the mold today. Use it for a couple of days and then break it again. And then the next day you may create another one and you use it till it no longer serves you. And then you break it again. That is how the energy is, or at least I feel that's where we're headed, where you can create almost simultaneously. If you look at the young people of today, and I say young because I'm 55, so I'm talking about the 20 to 30-year-olds, maybe even younger, they don't want to live in the old paradigms anymore of working 8, 10, 12 hours a day, go home, eat, sleep, and repeat, and nor should they. They have discovered a different way to do life that makes them happier, that feeds their souls, feeds their joys. So it is okay to let them break that mold and work less. Have less material things. Maybe work from home. Be an entrepreneur. This is where we're in a period of transition. So the people that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s and are still working have to let go of that programming that everybody has to put in their 8, 10, 12 hours a day, work hard program that we have running. They have to allow a new mold to be created again and again. And like I said, I don't even think we're creating the mold anymore. I think it's just going to be more fluid where we're creating and destroying almost simultaneously. And so that's how our world is going to look very different from now 20 or 30 years from now. But you know what? Let's try it. Let's step out and try something new. What do we have to lose? When we attempt at something new, it breaks the molds automatically. If you look at our current status of a world, we have issues. We don't have peace on the planet. We don't have health all over the entire planet. We have mental health issues. We have relationship issues. People don't know how to truly connect to one another at a deep level anymore. There's a disconnection in a lot of cases. So we have many areas of our life that can be improved, and maybe breaking the mold is how we improve them. I personally have never been a fan of molds. My philosophy is always, what else is there? Is there another way? I understand the need for structure, but some rules are made to be broken. Because whoever created that structure, that rule, created it from their template, from their experiences, from what they saw, from what their parent family saw. So only one person is creating that thing based on all their previous life experiences. So you're not creating anything when you step into that mold. And that one person that creates those molds is actually pulling forward generations of molds before them. So my rule is question the mold, question every rule. Is there another way? Could it be more efficient, more joyful, happier, healthier? This is your opportunity to stop in each moment, especially when you're triggered emotionally by something, and start breaking it apart. What happened? How do I feel about it? Where did that go in my body? Oh, hey, hang on. That doesn't feel good. If you're getting those signals from your body and your mind to say, hey, something's not right here, this just doesn't feel good anymore, then start looking at it and say, okay, how can I shift myself? Shift my perspective. What molds am I looking at that I'm holding on to? Can I shift something? Maybe even just a little crack in the mold. Maybe you're not breaking it into 1,000 pieces. That's okay too. It is almost like you're creating a portal into a new world that you could be a part of when you do this. I personally have done that over the last, 10-ish years. And it's a continual process. I have many, many layers of molds to go through. Yet you just take them one day at a time as they arise in your awareness. And as you do this, each individual person takes the responsibility on themselves to look at what they personally feel about every aspect of their life. And as that person shifts, then you are shifting the entire collective because you're no longer feeding and staying with the old molds that don't fit anymore. And I think that is a beautiful process. I think we can create a completely different world in the next 20 or 30 years. If every single person on the planet did this, even a little bit, you would be surprised what could happen. And I'm ready for it, where we treat each other with respect, with kindness, understanding. If there's something you don't particularly like, that's okay. Everyone has their own preferences. You can go this way, and the other person can go that way. And we can still live in a harmonious life together. That's probably the biggest part of this message, is how we create a world of harmony. Today, in order to live in harmony on this planet with every other sentient being, including Mother Earth and nature, we have to be willing to break the molds. Spread it out loud and proud when you break a mold. Have a conversation with somebody about a mold you may have just broken. If you're just listening to this podcast, allow those possibilities to seep into your mind. And then go over to the water cooler at work and say, hey, I was listening to a podcast today and they're talking about molds. And just begin to see what people say about it. That is how we create change, a sweeping change for the better. When we have the courage to speak up and say, this might work, what do you think? Allow other people to express their self and their opinions. This is like gold to me. Because that means you're operating your world from a collective standpoint and not one from a dictator standpoint, where only a few decide and explore the world and then create the world for the rest of us. We want a world that is created by everyone, not just the few. And if that means there are 8 billion molds on the planet, then so be it. Because maybe that mold works for you, but it doesn't work for everyone else. It's a blending of the molds that needs to occur. You know, you can have a company where if people love coming to an office and working 8 hours a day, maybe they like the socialization of it. Maybe it keeps them focused. Maybe they need an escape from home. That's a big one. That's okay. But maybe people like to work 2 days a week and cram it all into 12 hours a day, get all their work done, and then be free for the next 5 days. That works too in some cases. Or maybe somebody wants to work from home because they have little children and want to raise their children at home. And they can sneak off for, 2-hour increments a couple of times a day, get their workload done, and still have time to be with their kids. That's okay too. So that company may have a blend of all three of those molds, and it works. The company thrives because everyone's happy. Everyone is doing what they feel most in alignment with. So that's just an example of how molds can be created and merged together to create a happier society. So I want to personally thank my brother-in-law for this aha moment of molds based on the conversation we were having the other day. I love it when Spirit comes through and says, hey, that needs to be out in the world, out in front, so that other people can hear it, so that we can create that change. If I just kept that silent and didn't come on this podcast, it might just die off and then we stay stuck in those old molds. So I challenge you to step out of your mold and create some change in your world today. All right, guys, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. It's always fun and enlightening to me to get these aha moments and these inspirations. So align yourself, elevate yourself, and love who you are.